just kill me! God damn. Hello again. Can you hear me? Out there in Wonderland. It's all a bit bright. So, voice, let me know you can hear the voice in the music. Loud and clear. Good. Good. Great. All right. Good. I'm going to start with a beer, if that's all right, because I've had it today. I've had it. Had it. I have. This is the last one I've got left from lovely Wishbone Brewery. Thank you very much. This is the gluten-free one that I've ignored because I'm assuming it won't be very nice for no reason. Anyway, I'm just going to pour this. You talk amongst yourselves. And I'm sorry, look, it's 8:15 already. I am sorry. Oh. Now that's perfect, just for knocking over, you know, just a little bit. Here's to November. That's all right, that. That's all right, that. Okay, good. Welcome. Sorry about the befuddle to start with. I thought I was just trying to improve things a little by putting headphones on, because although I don't like to do that, I appreciate that it perhaps makes for a better experience. So you're not getting the sound directly over the live stream and then also through my mic here. But I don't know. It's just not going to stretch far enough. I've gotten a muddle, pulled the USB cable out of the audio interface, boom, all the sound went. That's awesome. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I am stressed, mate. The others were great. Wishbone, thank you. I should probably pick a name for you. You've probably told me. Oh, I've forgotten. Should I call you Bob? Bob at Wishbone, yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, mate. I have enjoyed those tremendously. I'm a slow drinker. I don't drink all the time. At least I try not to. I had a bit of a trying not to too often. So, but here I am enjoying the last one now. Last one. So there we go. Right, I'm going to kick off just with. Obviously, I've got a couple of synths to talk about. I mentioned that, but just to relax myself a little, or maybe frustrate myself a little. I don't know. I'm going to have a fiddle with the Erica Synths Black Sequencer over here. Let's see if I can get you zeroed in on that a little bit. Yum. Ah, you see that beauty? That bit. You can't see it very well. I don't really care. Now the Black Sequencer, it's got a few too many things plugged into it at the moment, but never mind. I haven't played with it to any depth. I've just fiddled with it, but the fiddling with it, it's totally brilliant. Totally brilliant. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of that, come out of CD1, stick that into this here oscillator. That's going to go through there, and is it going to go through there? What's that doing? So I need an output. Let's have this over here. I'm just holding on to everything because I'm convinced it's just all going to fall on me today. And there might be a bit of noise as well. I'm getting a little bit of noise and I'm not quite sure where that's from yet. Now, I would have expected there to be more noise. Oh, I know. So yeah, the idea, what you get is CV and gate. This is, like I say, this is as far as I've got is CV and gate on this thing. You've got 16 knobs. It seems to be automatically quantized to a bunch of notes. So I can essentially just twist in a bunch of notes. Now I'm going to want to not have done that because I haven't selected the right channel. And that's now annoyed me. So let me put those back. That'll do, good enough. So I can choose channel 1, which is what this should be on. So you can just dial in the notes straight on this, which is what I've always loved about the Lattice sequencer. It's a very similar idea. You've just got the 16 knobs and they're there and you can just dial them in. And I can press on gate and I can change that around. And that was it really. That's kind of what I wanted to show, is just how the surface of this is so lovely and so fantastic that I don't actually need to go any deeper. It does everything I want a sequencer to do right there. Yeah? What is it I want a sequencer to do? I want a sequencer to give me quick instant access to notes. I mean, in between notes, sure, but notes primarily, so I don't have to attach a quantizer. I can just get notes. The other thing is gate length, which is I'm finding more and more interesting, as opposed to just a trigger that triggers something else or opens a gate. Gate length, varying gate length, doing interesting things with that. It gives me this ability to quickly write a little tune, but also pick bits out using another channel of gates. Ha! That's really good. In fact, that's something I learned from the great Suzanne Carney, in sort of gating your filter a little bit in order to create competing melodies within the same, you know, mono structure. If you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like. There's a button that says magic. Should I press it? Didn't do anything. Nice. So yes, that's the Erica Synths Black sequencer. I'm going to get into deeper and deeper with that over a little bit of time, I think. But it's intoxicating sequencer. I mean, I've been very fortunate in having a lot of sequencers in my life, which is nice, you know. And I've got this the M185, which I've really enjoyed as well, sitting there. But it's a different animal. It's more of an exploratory animal, and I've already discovered new and interesting things to do with it, which is awesome. But the black sequencer, yeah, very interesting. I've got another sequencer. Let me show you that. Let's just turn up. So I've got a couple of things just to show you while I'm at it. I also should point out my case. You probably haven't noticed my case, obviously. My new lovely custom-made orange case. My lights are going to fall down. You know, if I end up just speaking to myself and everything's just not working anymore, it's not, you know, I don't really mind. I'll just be here. I'll be here anyway. So yeah, I just got this through, the Super 16 sequencer. Now, I accidentally bought this because I thought they were going to not quite make their Kickstarter. And I really liked it, really liked the idea, and I was looking at it going, well, I've got enough sequencers, thanks mate, but I think it's really good, and I really think you should get to your Kickstarter. And I was telling people and posting about it and socialing about it, and like it was ticking down to like half an hour to go, and I thought, sod it, so I'd better buy one, and it just put them over the edge of the Kickstarter. But then they made it by a couple, so actually I probably didn't have to bother. But I thought that I would, and I'm going to feel good about it, so I hope to do a review of this fairly soon if I can find the time. But I just remember it looking really fun and engaging, which is what I like. Is it going to be anywhere near as fun and engaging as that fat thing up there? Difficult to say. Probably different. And that's what we like. We like different things that inspire us in different ways. And of course I'm going to have to try to find the room for it, because after getting my lovely new case, the first thing that happened, right, was that I filled it, and I've still got things knocking around. That's a problem. It's a problem, but there's a possibility that I might get another case from somewhere else, and that's going to help. But I really like, this is exactly what I wanted, in the right place. It's a case from a place called Case from Lake. Available on Reverb, I think. Yeah, that's where I got it from. Case from Lake, and it was kind of made to my requirements. It didn't go entirely according to plan, but that's okay. You know, we worked it out in the end, and it fits exactly where I want it to go, right there. Plus it has a lid. I can stick the lid on it and I can take it away and use it as a jamming rig, and that's the plan. So at the moment it's got in there kind of my favourite things for the moment, except for the surface, which is over here, that I want to try to get in there somewhere. So it's not right yet, so I want to get the surface in, but then I want to get the magneto in, and the 3RPT, the sample slicer, the stochastic thing, the quad quantizer, the bloom. Yeah, everything's my favourite thing. That's the problem with me. Right, so that's the that was the Sweet 16. The other thing somebody sent me, which is lovely, Brazil. I don't quite know what that says. I'm going to go for Brazulo, Bralu, Barello. I'm no help to people. Anyway, this here, Barullo, called the Kiobra. This is a distortion. And they've been good enough to send it to me, because I was mentioning how I didn't have a distortion, not quite sure what to go for, and whether it was important. I kept looking at Casper Electronics, that kind of stuff. So the guy from barulofx.com got in touch and says, I've got one coming out, I'll send it to you, you can give it a go. So they have, and here it is. I have not plugged it in yet. I've got a couple of things to do this week before I can really get into doing anything interesting like that. So I've got that coming up. And then lastly, I've had a brainwave, right? I've had a brainwave, and it's going to involve these little fellas here from Skull and Circuit. So this is a top secret project that I'm working on, that I'm not going to tell you anything about other than to go, ha, top secret project. But this here, MT1, so go and look that up, from Skull and Circuits, and you'll be scratching your head going, what does he want that for? It's not that I want one of them, I want two. I've got two of them. So that's for a secret project. So that's exciting. That'll keep you on your toes, that will. Yeah, so I try not to get distracted by that at the moment, because I have too many other things to do. So, I'm a little bit out of reach of my comments today, but let me grab my... Let me grab my surface and bring it and sit it on top of the nice COBALT8. And let's just have a little bit of interaction time, shall we? That'd be nice. So, let me just scroll back a little bit. Someone's going to probably say, oh yeah, I couldn't hear anything. Alright, so I'm back to Wishbone Brewery. Yeah, good, yeah, alright. Everything's going alright so far. Work stat is fine. Work stat's fine. Thank you. She sure is ugly. Okay. Can you talk about the case, please? Yes, I did that, Alan. Yes, I talked about the case. Case from Lake, it's called. Look it up. Relatively simple. Just 2 rows of 104 HP. I do kind of feel just at the moment that I should have included a 1 HP row, because I've been talking to Ritual Electronics about their 1 HP modules, and it's something that I don't have anywhere. And so it's like, oh, I should have, maybe I should have pushed it just a little bit bigger. Could have done that, but hadn't thought of it at the time. But there you go. which also means I'm now currently in the back of my head trying to look for a way to do a 1U case all by itself. How could you do that? Is there a way of sucking power out of somewhere here just to put it into a little 1U case that you can sit around somewhere? Could you do that? Is that helpful? I don't know. That might be a future project. So anyway, yeah, the case, it's hand built by a geezer in Italy. So it is. Reasonably priced as far as I could tell. I mean, I went on a bit of a search around to see what sort of cases I could find. I went to Erica Synths to start with, looking at their case. Thought about the IntelliGel one. Erica Synths said, maybe just hold on for a bit. I don't know what that means. I'm just putting that out there, okay? But I needed something kind of like straight away because it was just a disaster in here. So I looked around, yeah, I looked at the IntelliGel one. I thought, yeah, but everybody's got that. Or Tip Top Audio one, yeah, I just hate the plastic, man. So I looked at Le Monde cases and modular case and case X case, and all of them were either sort of too big or too much or too something. And so I thought, well, why don't I just get sort of some local Italy, right? I'll get some little firm to do it. You know, just get someone to make one from a little firm. That might be nice, might be good for them. And so I scrolled around on Reverb, found these guys, asked them if they could do something completely off their roster, because they had a lot of cases on there, but none of them were quite like this one. And so I said, could you do it like this and this size, and could you do it in like orange? And they said, yeah. And so they did. Totally brilliant. Totally brilliant it is. Yeah, and I really like it. And as I say, it's got a lid, which is here. Is it deep enough to allow me to leave it patched? I think so. I think so. But, you know, the workmanship's all right. I mean, it's not made of African hardwood or anything. You know, it's relatively simply put together, but cleanly put together. Nice, you know. It'll do, won't it? Good job. I'm quite pleased with that. And I think it looks brilliant up there. I'm just assuming it's just going to be all right and it's not going to bend and fall over. I might sort of screw it into the wall a little bit. Or it's got these hooks on the top so you can attach a strap, shoulder strap. I might actually sort of secure those with a cable tie or something to the back, just so it doesn't fall over in case an aircraft goes over, get a bit of wind, that kind of thing, and that all goes off. So there you go. That's that. I'm just catching up on the chat. So if you've got further questions, I'm probably not going to get to that for a little bit. Seems to be a vast array of synth-related live streaming going on these days. Yeah, no, I'm well in it. Is it an Erica synth sequencer? Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah, I don't know that it's coming out as a kit. It seems to be quite a complete thing, and on the back is a single PCB, very surface mounty. So as far as the black sequencer goes, I don't think it will be available as a kit. My understanding on the firmware is that they're nearly there, but they've been nearly there for a little while. So there's evidently some problem. I've not come across any problems at all. I've just been, as I say, I've been very much on the surface. CV, gate, channels 1 to 4. I understand that, and I can use that. I haven't had to look at the manual or anything. It just becomes self-evident. But there's undoubtedly a whole load of stuff in there that I'm yet to discover. But it will be fun discovering it when I can find a moment to sit down and do it. Wombra. So why are you here, mate? I mean, you call me a shill, yeah? You call me a dickhead, isn't that right? So why are you here? I don't quite get it, mate. I mean, yeah, I guess you think it's okay or something. Oh, I don't know. I've had such a crap day that I could really do without that kind of interaction, trying to be bigger than what people are. I don't know, always trying to take the high ground. Sometimes I don't know if I can be asked. I don't know, mate. I don't know. Maybe think it's funny or chummy or something. I don't know. Maybe I got you mixed up with somebody else. Maybe Maybe I can just ban you right now with my little fingers. Oh, the power. This maddens me. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. Yeah, it might be time for a second bench. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the system has grown. The system has certainly grown. Modular Mammoth, yeah, the case is great. It is really good. Very pleased, increasingly pleased with it. I mean, it's like when you buy a new piece of kit and you're expecting it to come and it's a bit custom made and stuff, and actually when it turned up it wasn't exactly right. And it's taken me a bit of time to fall back in love with it. After that initial kind of, oh, damn it, it didn't quite go as I thought, it didn't connect. You know, I thought we'd come to an agreement on a number of things and it turned out that perhaps we hadn't, or I hadn't made that clear. Let me know if the focus is off, by the way, because that's been driving me a little bit nuts lately. That seems all right. So, what was I saying? Yeah. But, you know, since I've been using it and engaged with it, I mean, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. For instance, when I was putting the first modules in, they didn't seem to fit, and I had to sort of apply a little bit of pressure in order to squeeze them into the case, because I mean, I guess it warps a little bit because it's made of wood, and so it was just a little bit tight in there. And also the rails, the threaded rails, wasn't an entire one piece. It was kind of a piece and a bit, and that means that second bit is not quite exactly as it should be. So if you're trying to put in a module across the two threaded bars, it's you know, you have to kind of squeeze it a little bit to get it to fit, which I think is unfortunate. They should have used a single piece of bar, I think. So it's not a perfect result, but as I've used it and as I've moved it around and as I've done this and done that, you know, it's just totally done the job, and that's as good, you know, as good as anything in my book. I still can't quite see that focus. Oh no, focus. See, that goes all the way out. And that comes back in, that goes past. It's got to be somewhere in around, yeah, in around there. Got to be. Anyway, I could build my own case. I do not have the time. Simply do not have the time. There's going to be a situation where I do build a case for the Cosmo modular that I'm doing. I will be doing that, but I don't have the time. I just needed something because I had so many modules knocking around, you know, that were not plugged in and not making themselves useful, and that seemed to be like a crime. A crime it is. I mean, I've got a lot of Erica Synth stuff now because they've sent me quite a bit of stuff to review this year, which is great, and I could almost make an entire Erica Synths set. But yeah, I like to mix it up a little bit. Okay. Right, I'm just going to skip a little bit, I think. Wombra, mate, I mean, the internet is a funny place. We, as a YouTuber, man, as an influencer, trying to claw your way to do something that you love doing, which is explaining things, reviewing modules, excited about a new synthesizer, a new piece of gear that you can talk about because you enjoy talking about it, and you think that people actually like it. They like you talking about it, that it's helpful, that other people making decisions find your opinions helpful. That's awesome. It's such an awesome relationship to be able to, for me, who's worked, you know, damn hard to create a rapport, a relationship with certain manufacturers to get to a position where I'm able to access more gear outside of what I can personally purchase. You know, to get to that point is hard. It's taken a lot of work, a long time. And as soon as I get given something and I do a review of it, someone like yourself comes along and calls me a shill. And that's okay, is it? How is that okay? How is that in any way okay? I don't get it. And you don't seem to have any idea of what sort of impact that has. You know, what I've worked really hard to put something together and to try to give an honest and open review of something, regardless of where it came from, and you get that kind of comment. You don't seem to have any idea what sort of effect that has. And we all talk about it. All of us who do YouTube videos, we all have this list of, you know, of people who say these sorts of things, and you don't seem to have any idea. Well, maybe you. I mean, we have to assume that you have no idea how that affects us, because if you did know, you wouldn't be. You're either a complete arse or you wouldn't be doing it. So, you know, make a choice, mate. Either be nice or go somewhere else, because I could do without the hassle, because it affects us. Every negative comment, because we're little wallflowers. We're delicate, creative people. And those sort of negative comments just do us in. They do us in. They keep us awake at night. You know, because like, what? Why does this person feel this way? Why do they believe that I'm somehow in the pocket of a manufacturer who sent me something? Why do they think that I would give up every ounce of integrity and honesty that I have for the sake of a bit of gear? What is that about? I can't comprehend it. I'm sorry if this feels harsh, mate, but flipping heck, you've just been a flipping barnacle, you have. Jeez, mate. So, you know, I'm not... Yeah, Tom, exactly. Every flipping negative comment, you try to talk people round, try to respond to it, you know, and you just pop up, here's a shill. He's in the pocket of the manufacturer. Am I? God damn it. Well, here I am tonight. I'm just going to take a moment, if that's all right. I'm just going to take a moment. I'm going to put this back on. I've had a hard day. Okay, anyway, back to normal programming, eh? I've just had a day of Behringer today where they've been on my case because I wrote an article for Gear News where I expressed an opinion and opened up some discussion on some possible points of how do we judge value when you have such awesome products for such different prices, you know. And so I wrote an article about it. I wasn't making any judgments. I was just laying out a little bit of information and some thoughts and some ideas about it. And then, you know, Sunday morning, Behringer slaps a thing, pins it to their Facebook page, and has a bit of a rant about it. And tags me by name, which is always nice when your personal Facebook, you know, profile is tagged into something you did for work. And then, you know, just watching all the comments roll in, just thinking, oh, how is it? How do so many people not read something or read it poorly and then jump to conclusions and then shout about it? It's just weird. And it's like, oh, I just want to set it straight. I want to get in there and grab hold of people and say, no, that's not what I said. And actually, that's not true. But you can't do that. You can't. It's just heaping pain upon yourself. But it doesn't stop me being worried about it and concerned about it. And there's this one particular guy who was bouncing up and down saying, "Oh, you've got owned by Behringer. Ah, they burnt you, man." It's like, what? So what are you talking about? I mean, first of all, their comment was extremely defensive, but actually didn't contradict anything that I said. It went along exactly the lines of everything that I said. They just felt the need to reiterate it and go over it again in greater depth and more detail, which was kind of weird. It's weird how they do that. They're extremely defensive and sort of put up this idea that they're being victimized somehow. Well, I don't think that's it at all. I mean, in the article, I was extremely positive, I think, about Behringer. Very, very balanced. I came away feeling that I've criticised perhaps Dave Smith and Moog a little more than I intended to, and I certainly didn't want it to give the impression that I felt they were being dishonest in their pricing. And I made sure that I spoke about that in the article. I wanted to be very balanced. So it was just odd, very, very odd. But I think just a couple of comments. I don't want to go on about it, but a couple of comments is just that I don't think anyone is confused about the difference between cost and value, because that's what the article was about. And I mixed the terms up, quite deliberately. I used cost in one instance and value in another, because I think that we instinctively understand what those things mean in its given context, and yet everyone's going, "Oh, he's obviously confused about cost and value." No, I don't think I am, and I don't think anybody else is. I don't think we need it constantly explained to us, a difference between the cost of something, the price of something, and its value. I think we make those judgments every day. So, first of all, I don't think anyone's confused about that. Secondly, the other comment, a lot of people took the other thing I took, other people seemed to take umbrage at was that I'd said that I felt that Behringer didn't put a whole lot of thought into the design of their instruments, and maybe that was a factor. Maybe when Dave Smith is building an instrument, he puts an awful lot of thought and judgment into how the keys interact with the hardware, how everything comes together, the placement, size of knobs, the whole decision process on building an instrument. And I suggested that perhaps that's one of the reasons why these things cost more. One of the reasons, just potentially. And they took a lot of umbrage at that. And I think what I meant to say, if in case they weren't getting it, was their range of synthesizers, the little ones, they're all in that Eurorack sort of Mother 32 size format. It's those that I was talking about, because they have no keyboard to start with. They're all squeezed into the same space. They're not set out designed to mimic the originals, because they're actually squashed into a smaller space. So for them, trying to squeeze a particular synthesizer into a smaller space is removing their opportunity to design an instrument. I mean, that's my point. So, it's not factually incorrect when they're going, "Oh no, but the Poly D is a beautiful instrument." Yeah, well, it may be, but all those other half a dozen synths are not particularly. So anyway, but just to finish that off, what I would like to say is that to Behringer, if you're out there, if you're listening, which is cool, I'd love to have a conversation. I would love for Uli or one of your team to come onto my live stream and we can have a chat about all these things. You talk about how transparent you are. Let's do that. I mean, there doesn't appear to be any way to contact you. I've looked. The only way I could contact you is by posting on your forum, on your Facebook page, which I don't want to do because I don't want to be set upon by a load of devoted fans. So Behringer, if you want to be transparent, if you'd like to talk about issues of value, issues of ethics within synthesizer building, want to talk about your awesome products, because they are undoubtedly awesome. I have a number of them. Let's get talking about that stuff. Come on a live stream, talk to me about it, and we can hash out the reasons why a lot of people react poorly to you. You know, we could talk about those things. We also talk about the massive fan base you've created and the, you know, the fervour that you've created through your disruption of the synth market. You know, there's some fascinating things that we can talk about. You know, good and bad, pros and cons, you know. And I think that would be great. So if you are determined to be transparent and the company of the people, because your customers are the only people that matters, according to your comments on Facebook. You don't care about the money, you don't care about anything other than your customers. Well, then I think that your customers, because you're this, you know, altruistic, benevolent company, you know, people, you should give that kind of transparency, that kind of access. I think that would be great. And, you know, and I would do it as absolutely fairly, because I'm not an anti-Behringer person. You know, we've had our run-ins in the past, sure, because sometimes you've acted poorly, but I'm sure I have at times. So, you know, get in touch and let's do a thing. That'd be great. People would love it. They'd love it. Right. I think we should move on. How are we doing in the chat? Are you all right? Have I had enough rants for this evening? What should I rant about next? Novation? No, I'm not. Look, I've had 3 sips, so no, it's not the booze. Sleepless weeks. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly. How much design can you place in a clone? Yeah, that's an interesting thing that came out of it, actually, that some other people mentioned, is that there's a difference between building a clone for an existing audience who are gagging for it, who have requested it. You know you're going to sell it, so you can build them by the 1,000 because you're going to sell them, because you know you are, because you're building exactly what people want. If you're designing a synth from scratch, something new, like the Modal 8 I've got here, less so the AFX Station, but the Modal 8, then that's a massive risk, you know, a massive risk. So it's a very different game building something from scratch as it is to building a clone of something which already exists, of which there's already schematics, of which you have an example with which to base it upon, and to have a, you know, a known market for it. You know, very different things, very different things, but interesting to talk about, I think. Ergonomics, innit? Yeah, I'm with the yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a place for everything. You know, I'm glad Behringer's there. I think it's awesome that the 2600 is coming out. I think that's fantastic. You know, up until they made a complete fool of themselves over the Peter Kern thing, up until then, I think they were turning the tide. I think the whole synth community was with them, was moving with them, going, well, this is all awesome. I mean, they had that awesome super booth. Was it 2018? Could have been 2019. 2018, when they had the Odyssey, the RD8, the MS101. They had all these synths, and they were doing it with DivKiv, with Sonic State, with Tom, Synth Atomy, and it was, you know, it was awesome. They were meshing with the synth community, and then they went and did something really stupid, and everyone, a lot of people, kind of felt that's just that's not right. And I think that's done them a lot of harm, you know. Honestly, Wombra, just shut up. Just shut up. If you keep appearing in my chat, I'm going to ban you, you know. So just be quiet or I'll ban you. It's kind of that simple, really. I kind of had it, mate. So let's have a look at these 2 synths then, shall we? That's what we're here for. That's the real thing. So let me put this channel thing up. Is that, what's that? Yeah. Okay, remove my beer before I do something terrible with it. Right. So as you can see, hopefully, on my overhead, you see that all right? It's not appearing on YouTube yet, so I'm not entirely sure. There it is. So you can see, look, I've still got the sticky labels on. These are this new. I have plugged them in, and I confess now that I did turn them on just to make sure they made sound. So I did do that. So what would you like to hear first? Or shall I just bash them? I can't find the on switch. There it is. This one, like that. So for those who don't know, this is the AFX Station from Novation. It is, as far as I can work out, a rebranded Base Station 2. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I just thought they were bringing out a brand new synth. It's not a brand new synth. It's the AFX Station. Can you hear that all right? Right, yeah, that's just the first patch. So the AFX Station, right? It's a base station 2. I've had a base station 2 for about 7 years. So, you know, I know it relatively well. So it's a great little synth. It's a fantastic little synth. But what I think we're here to see today is the AFX Station overlay. So anyway, so a couple of patches. Pretty sure I was doing that one already. It's all gone a bit grungy, I have to say. But I think the default bank in the original one is better. Oh, this better. You know, I just want something that's a mono synth. Do you know what I mean? Just want a mono synth. So anyway, the AFX mode is available in something called an overlay. So this is available on the base station 2 as well. And essentially, it puts this overlay, don't know what that, you know, it just sticks it over the top. It's like something clever they've elbowed in, they've crowbarred it in because it's not really supposed to be there. So you hold function and hit this twice and it puts you into this weird mode, which then allows you to dial in a patch on each key. So each key changes the patch. Not yet, obviously. Let's select one. There we go. So the idea is that each key, therefore, has its own patch. Apparently, as no doubt programmed by the great hands of Richie Cunningham. No, what's his name? Richard D. James, Mr. Aphex Twin. And then you can play it a bit like a drum machine sort of groovebox thing. I guess. So yeah, that's the vibe, man. Obviously you can't play a chord, that's just silly. And you can edit each one as an individual patch and then save it as the overlay. I think there's all sorts of jiggery pokery you can do with the old component app to get that to be saved as a bank and a thing you can do with. I don't think I'm explaining myself very well. But anyway, but for my money, right? Oh, I've broken it. How do I get out of here? I just like it as a synth. I really do. Anyway, so that's the AFX Station. I'll be doing a full review of this bit of a video, I imagine, and I'll do a review for Gear News, of course, because that's why they sent it to me. So that's cool. I mean, I enjoy it tremendously simply because it is it's the Base Station 2. I like the Base Station 2. That's why I like it. It's great. And I'll say again 100 times, the only reason I criticised the launch of the AFX Station is because I thought it was something else. Hang on, lights falling out again. I've got these wonderful new lights, right, which is why I'm probably looking all a bit washed out. But I still need to hang muslin over the top of them in order to get them to work. There's got to be a more professional way to do this rather than having tatty old bits of muslin hanging around. But I don't know, I'm making this up as I go. The Modal 8 then. Should we give that a go, or should I just check on comments in the meantime? Tanuki D, hi, how you doing? Good to see you. You got any Coldplay? Sure, yeah. No, I haven't. Right, the modal then. Back to the overhead. So the COBALT8, how like is it to the Argon? I mean, you must have watched everybody else's video by now, yeah? I would have thought. So what we've got, my understanding is, because I've written it up, but I don't actually know really what's going on. It's called an 8-voice extended virtual analog synthesizer, which means it's a bit like a virtual instrument. Bit like that, because it's virtual analog, it's DSP based, it's computer based as opposed to circuitry based, but within that can be extraordinarily clever. And the point of designing an instrument is that you design a hardware interface to access all the bits that are within it, and you work it so it can absolutely nail everything that it can perfectly do. Yeah, okay. Is it like the Argon 8? No, the Argon 8, well, it's the same shell, essentially, but the Argon 8 has a different sound engine. It has a wavetable sound engine, whereas this is something else. Now, let's stop talking a minute and just try a couple of the patches, right? Alright, there's a patch. How do you change patches, do you think? That one? Octave. That says octave. Press it down. Keyboard, octave. Ooh. Patch. Thank you. Number 2. Mother load. Oh no, I've got to press a button to load it. No, I don't want that, do I? Oh my goodness, I've got things going on. Oh, it's got here. I got no idea what that's about. Now, I should say that I have no clue what I'm doing. Now, on the AFX station, I can just, you know, press latch, have an ARP going, and just go to town on all the knobs, and it just sounds awesome. Now, this is a different thing. Now, a lot of this is because I'm very familiar with the AFX station. I'm not familiar with this in the slightest. But what I would like, very simply, is to press ARP and have it stay playing. That's all I'd really like. But I can't find a way to do that. There's no button that says latch, no button that says hold. I've got a sequence hold over here. Is that the same as ARP hold? Do I press it twice? No, status on or off. Sequence no use. Maybe I'm just being an idiot. Well, if anybody could look it up in the manual and let me know, that would be enormously helpful, because I really enjoy letting an ARP go and playing with knobs. That's my favourite thing. Right, anyway, let's go back to other patches. Stranger Bells. So I'm going to have to get a plectrum out in a minute and jam it under here in order to hold the key down. See that? Interesting. Well, that was totally lovely. Up hold from the manual. For arpeggiator hold functionality, please use sustain latch mode as described below. Sustain sustain latch mode. Holding velo and holding sustain for 1 second will enable sustain latch mode. I'm assuming this is over here. I've got a sustain here. I've got a sustain here. Velo, sustain. Let me pick a more... Yay! There you go. Cool, why is that hard? This whole morphing filter thing, not entirely sure what it's morphing. Nice. Yeah, that almost sounded like something for a minute, and then it all went pear-shaped. So forget that. Let's try another. Let's dial in a little bit. La-di-da. Let's whop through and then let's have a bit more conversation. What time is it? It's bleeding up past 9. Wow, where did the time go? I haven't quite got the hang of what the joystick's supposed to do. Different things maybe. So I've got no pitch bend modulation wheel, I guess. This is what that's doing. I was just looking, right? Just wanted to suddenly check, suddenly think, oh, so my modular head's switched on, and I thought, how can I access those algorithms? Can I address them from CV somewhere? So I wonder if there's an init patch. There does seem to be. How about if I hold it? There we go, patch initialized. I've probably broken the one that this was. Oh, I have. Oh, bloody hell. Anyway, so there was a nice patch that I've now destroyed. So then we've got basic waveforms. Hope you can hear that all right. I want to do this for some reason. I think because my camera's here and that's getting in my way. So you have various algorithms, which is essentially the waveforms. You've got sine wave, something a bit crushed apparently, saw, spread, triangle, pulse width, another one. Oh look, a triangle and a square together. A bit more sawtooth, triangle with something, saw, a fractal saw, nice. That's a nice looking waveform. Okay. And then you should have, I believe, two parameters for algorithm 1 and algorithm 2. Nice. Tends to be sync and sub on algorithm 1. That sounds really nice to me. Sorry about the patch. Yeah, no, I just really messed that up. There's supposed to be 300 patches in here. That's a disaster. That's the last patch. They really went to town on the last patch. That one. Good job. Good job. Well, there's another one. Oh, right, it's all percussion at the end. That's excuse me, that's a bit disappointing. That's more like it. That's the patch you finish with. So there you go. I hope that was interesting. I'm gonna have to turn this one off so I'm not making noises with my surface. So yeah, well, thanks for sticking with me. I hope that was interesting, more interesting than the first half of my general ranting. Sorry, my tatty piece of cloth has fallen off my light again. Just stay on there. What's the matter with you? So yeah, fun. I've enjoyed totally both of those. Oh, I scratched that already. The Modal 8 was really nice. There's some really nice stuff in there. I like. See, the thing I have, I think, with more complex synthesizers, I mean, I'm thinking of things like the Microfreak, which can do a lot of different things. You know, a lot of different algorithms or a lot of different waveforms, is that I just find myself sort of flicking between them, never really sure what to do. This does have a lot of algorithms, but I can immediately see what I can do to them. On the Microfreak, I don't know, I'm filling up a jar with something and I'm moving some other parameter. I'm not really entirely sure what's going on. With this, with the waveform display, I really like how I can see what's going on. I'm applying pulse width modulation, or I'm adding harmonics, or I'm adding overtones or something. I'm bringing something in, and it's simple. There's two knobs, there's one waveform, and each time you change a waveform you can then change two other aspects of it. Simple, but easy. And I think from that I can kind of get to the sort of sound that I'm after, which is, I mean, ultimately I'm just after a big, massive, interesting pad. That's kind of what I'm after. If I want a bass sound, I'll do that one. So that's kind of what I'm after, and I want to filter it, and I want to do interesting things and lovely things with it, and enjoy having a good time. I want to add a sustain pedal so that I can do that. Although, you know, 8 voices, obviously, I must remember that. I'll start stealing voices if I'm sustaining too much. So yeah, initial, because this is the first time I've played with it. I've not really listened to other people's demos that much either. Is nice. I like it. I like the simplicity at the moment. I'm sure there's a lot more depth to it, but I could fiddle around and find out most things, where I could send things to, how to modulate stuff. The LFO seemed simple enough. I seemed to bumble into the fact you press the LFO, then you turn the thing you want it to modulate. That seemed to work. How you then get back to that and edit it, not entirely sure. But all sorts of things. Could have an easier latch button. So that's going to be the focus of my review, is the lack of a latch button for the ARP. That'll be it. I have to use two buttons and hold it for a second. Anyway, so yeah, interesting. I'm going to have some fun playing with that, I think. The keyboard also is mighty. There's a lot of weight to it. Interesting. A lot of weight to it. This one, not so much. The base station keyboard, it's all right. It's good. I've used it as a MIDI controller for many years before I got something bigger and more interesting, and it does a job. Yeah, it totally does a job. This has a much heavier, interesting feel to it. There's probably, oh look, there's aftertouch, which is always nice. Is it better than the Ultra Nova? Which one? You're welcome, DG Tunes. See, I showed my ignorance there. Sorry about that. Thanks, Naked Hand. That's nice. Yeah, I thought it sounded good. I thought it sounded good. Yeah, I haven't used the Microfreak enough either. It probably requires a bit of thing. I mean, something that someone said to me, I can't remember now, was that the key to the Microfreak is the fact that it's a modular oscillator. That they've taken the plats or the braids or whatever it is. They've taken a bunch of algorithms out of the Mutable Instruments module, and that's fine. Except that that's a Eurorack modular module, and so the key to understanding the Microfreak is that for all of those sorts of oscillators, you've got to think modular. What would you be doing? The sort of noises you'd be making with that, the sort of modulation you'd be adding, because that's what it's really designed to do. It's not, pardon me, it's not designed for playing chords particularly. And so that's the way you should approach it. And I found that enormously helpful, and then I've largely ignored it ever since. Hydrosynth or Cobalt? Don't know. I mean, this is the thing. I'm not that big into wavetables. I find, personally, wavetables a bit harsh, a bit glassy. That's not really the sound I'm after. I'm after more of a fatter analog tone. That's just what I like. I'm not so big into wavetables. So the Hydrosynth doesn't particularly thrill me. Neither does the Argon 8, for that matter. It's like, yeah, that's all right. I mean, I've got a lovely black wavetable VCO here, and I purely use it for texture. So I will put a very slow LFO into it, and it will gradually morph through waveforms, and that's interesting. Same with the graphic VCO, which is here. That's basically what I'm going to be doing with it, because I don't like it as an individual sound source. I'd much rather have something analog. So Hydrosynth, Argon 8, for me, they don't thrill me particularly. So I mean, anything that Waldorf has ever done. To me, it doesn't please me. It doesn't please my ears. I mean, I can appreciate the synthesis, I can appreciate the enormous sound and possibilities. It's just actually virtual analog of this nature appeals to me much more. There you go. There you go. Smooth tones, yes. Yeah, the Microfreak also benefits from effects, definitely. Add some effects to it, and that's enormously helpful. Yeah, a better question would be Argon 8 or Hydrosynth. That is the question, and I can't answer that because I have not spent any time with those two. So look, it's 5 to 10. Oh, my computer wants to restart and do an update. That's nice. Shall I talk about Computer Music Week a little bit, or is there anything else from this week's news? I mean, we're supposed to be talking about this week's news. Got a bit sidetracked in the whole rant about people being mean. And then stuck into these. But that was good. I enjoyed playing these two, and I really hope that was useful to you out there. And I will, of course, be doing proper sessions and reviews and stuff on these bits of kit. Oh, yes. So, Computer Music Week, yeah, is this idea to have it like Modular DIY Week? I think I explained it fair enough in the Molten Monthly, really. I haven't got any further with it since I did that video, which was literally yesterday. So, I just have a plan to do some live streams, some interviews with some interesting people. I've got a guy from Presonus to talk to. Got Bitwig to talk to. Got Pete Brown from Microsoft to talk to, which is great, fantastic. If anybody else has got some great ideas, I'll go for that. But otherwise, that's enough. And in between there, I will do a live seminar on MIDI and audio on your computer, which is a bit scary. I haven't done that for a little while. But that would be great. I'm going to do something on Windows tweaking. Might do something on my favourite plugins, although I feel I'm a little out of touch because I don't use a lot of software plugins at the moment. But maybe I'll do something on those, because there's certainly some good ones. Did you see the ARP 2600 from Cherry Audio, which I think just popped up today? I noticed. That's interesting because their DCO 106 was also apparently brilliant. I'm going to sneeze. Hang on, hold it in. Oh, I'll sneeze it later. So what was I saying? Yeah, so so what are my actual favourite ones? Which ones do I use all the time? It's a really difficult question because I don't know that I do a lot. I kind of just use what's to hand. That's not going to make for an interesting video. A bit of reason. Propeller heads? Yeah, maybe. I used to know the guys at Propeller Heads years ago. Don't know that I do anymore. I don't know. I'll think about it. I mean, I want to do some things that connect hardware and software. I want to do a bit on that. But I think, in far as live streams go, then I've got 5, I think, already. That's probably enough for the week, I should think. And then I can spend the rest of the time making actual videos, which won't be 2-hour epics. Will be a little bit shorter and sharper. And I can cover some things I haven't covered, like just going through a bunch of synth plugins and bits and pieces that I like and doing some decent reviews on them. I think that might be more useful. I've got the Sensal Morph to review, that MIDI controller. I'd like to do something on the wave front and Bluetooth into there, but that might be a separate thing. That sort of stuff. So I'm still churning up the ideas at the moment. I've got a couple of weeks and I'll see what I can pull together. I mean, this week my plan is funny enough, I've got the Korg Volca Sample 2 to review for Sound on Sound, so that's exciting. Having a go at that. And I've never owned a Volca. I used to have the Monotribe a while back, and I've played with Volcas in shops, but I've never actually had one myself. So it's interesting getting to grips with something quite that petite, and it is remarkably petite. So that's fun. I'm doing that this week. And I'd like to finish the project, the Frequency Central project I've got over there, which isn't quite working at the moment. I need to go back in and resolder a few bits and suck a load of solder out of one particular place. See if I can get that up and running. Got the sample slicer to finish now that it's working. See in here, it's working. Excellent. I just need to do a little bit of video on the end of that because I've shot the whole build video and I need to put the finished result, stuff that on the end. That to do. I've got, cool, it's all coming out now. I've got the fabulous stochastic Omsonic thing to get my head around because it has multiple layers to it that I had no idea were there. Got the black sequencer to do more stuff on. Got those other 2 new modules that have just turned up to fit in somewhere. I've got more kits to build. The LL8 from Robo, they sent that to me. I've got to build that. I've got another kit from SynthCube. I've got Deckard's Dream to do. I've got Cosmo to do. I've got my secret special thing I'm going to be doing to do. I've got plenty. How about you? I mean, I've got a month of lockdown coming up, but lockdown without the kids. The kids are being locked in the school. I mean, how fantastic is that? A month without the kids. Ace. So I'll be able to get loads done with a bit of luck. And I've got plenty. And then in December it's my 50th birthday, so I'm going to have to try to think up something interesting in order to celebrate, because I'm not going to be able to. What I would normally do, my plan, what I did for my 40th, for instance, was I put a band together and did a gig and invited all my friends and had a good time. That's what I would be doing if it were not for the state that we are in. So I'm going to have to try to think of something else. Maybe we'll just sit here sadly drinking beer and being slightly annoyed at the internet. That's probably it. Suitcase case to build. Yeah, I've got that to do as well. It's Cobalt 24 voices. It's 8 voice, 64 oscillators. 8 oscillators per voice. I don't really know what that means. I mean, I'm gonna try and work out what that means. These are numbers that are thrown around. I mean, I'm familiar with single oscillators. Oscillators, they make a sound, a waveform. So if you've got 8 of them, what difference does that make? I mean, you can stack them up, but that surely just builds ultimately on the amplitude. And is that fun? Assuming that they're similar. I mean, they had that wonderful drift knob that I'm assuming is going to do something interesting, and spread. So I'm assuming I can spread those oscillators around. So I'm interested to know exactly how that helps you, if that makes sense. Because my mind works one oscillator per voice. You know, you've got an oscillator, you play with that. So having 8 oscillators per voice, what can that do that you couldn't do before? I guess you're detuning, making wobbles. I guess that's it. Don't know. I'm going to discover that. Maybe can you feed an oscillator of its own group into itself? You know, those are the questions. Those are the questions. Jono Trumpet, the Omsonic's such an amazing module. Yeah, no, it is. I know that already. And I said to the guy who built it, that, oh yeah, I've got it. It's great. It's playing like notes and stuff. He says, have you tried this? Have you tried this? And then this. And I went, no, what are you talking about? So there's all this stuff inside that I haven't even thought of yet. And so I'm fascinated to know about that. Somebody wanted me to give a shout out to somebody. Oh God, what was that? Oh, that's gone. Somebody wanted me to say something. What was that? Let me just have a quick check on something. Sorry, bear with me. I can't remember. Oh no. Oh, was it in... Where was it? Was it in here? Boo 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 doo boo 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 boo. Bear with, bear with. No. No, I can't remember now. Sorry. Somebody wanted me to shout to something. God darn it. Where was that? Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll have to let that go. If anybody can remember what it was I was supposed to give a shout out about, do let me know and I'll give a shout out before the end of this, which we're about to finish in a minute. Detune for a fatter sound? Yeah, I suppose so. Spread them into chords, but I can play chords. Why do I want to spread them into chords? I guess if you can't play chords, sometimes one finger chords are good. I learnt using one finger chords on a Technics home keyboard. Maybe that's good. I don't know. I mean, I find, I don't know about you when you play, but my playing is intuitive, man. I'm just led by the spirits. I don't really know what I'm playing. I just fiddle until I find things that are nice. And so trying to design a chord doesn't appeal to me that much, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. Reefer, hey, you behave yourself and give him a really spooky stare, and I want you to wake him up first thing in the morning. There you go. That's done then. That's done. Right, well, I think I've run out of stuff now. Oh look, here's that. Hang on, let's have a jam with this. I'm getting a second wind. Everyone hang on to yourself. I don't know what's up with me today. I'm just I'm all over the shop. All over the shop. There you go. Ah, what a funny thing. Oh, let's turn it off. Good, good. Oh, yeah, there was one other thing that reminds me. They're just thinking about doing reviews and stuff. One thing that Behringer got their knickers in a twist about, right? That's just wrong. It's just simply wrong. Just this last little tiny bit. And that's that they keep going on about how they don't buy reviews. They're not into buying reviews, man. The implication of that is that the people who do reviews, like Sonic State or websites or Sound on Sound or magazines, you know, they buy reviews. That's their implication. Their implication is that all these magazines, these places that do things for real, they buy, they get bought. As in for advertising space, you know, a manufacturer has to buy advertising space in order to get their unit reviewed, and then they give them money to review it, give it a nice review. It's just bollocks. It's just complete and utter rubbish. That is not the case. I mean, I write for Sound on Sound. I review for Sound on Sound. I've got boxes of stuff that people have sent me from Sound on Sound. It's not there as a payment. It doesn't pay me to do anything. The majority of things I review from Sound on Sound are on loan. I have it for a couple of weeks. I send it back. They don't have to buy advertising. It's just nonsense. It's this myth perpetuated to try to make them, I don't know what it is, to try to make them appear like an underdog, that they're winning for the people, that it's only real people who review their stuff, real people who are incredibly grateful to be given a piece of Behringer equipment, as opposed to a professional being paid to do a review where the product is irrelevant. You know, which of those is more trustworthy, do you think? Perhaps. So, no, I mean, as I say, I write for Sound on Sound. My editor tells me that they'd love to do more Behringer stuff, love to, but Behringer won't send it in. It's as simple as that. It's not because Sound on Sound are snobby. It's not because they're not paying them any money. It's not because they're not advertising with them. None of that makes any difference whatsoever. The only reason you don't find more Behringer gear in Sound on Sound is because Behringer don't send it in. They don't have to give it. They can loan it, but a reviewer needs to have the gear in order to review it. And it's not really a reviewer's place to have to buy it, because that also influences their review, ultimately, because we all like to big up something that we've purchased. That's human nature. So, you know, again, for transparency, Behringer, come, first of all, have an interview with me and we can talk about these things, because you're kind of perpetuating these ideas that there's something wrong in the media, in the industry. It's kind of, it leans towards this Trump type idea where you can have an alternative view of things, an alternative view of facts which are incorrect. It just boggles my mind. And the other weird thing about it is that Sonic State have reviewed your stuff, and so have Sound on Sound, you know, because they decided to buy one. I think it was the MS-101 they did, and they bought one and reviewed it. Or was it the RD8? I forget. But, you know, they had to put their own hand in their pocket in order to do it. And why should they do that? You know, why should they have to do that? Every other manufacturer just sends stuff in. It's not difficult. It's not tricksy. No one's out to get you. You know, we'd all love to be on board with the thing if only you would, you know, take the trouble to join in a little bit. Ah, dear. Anyway. There was a guy with a 2600. Yes. Now this is quite interesting. Just as I'm finishing my beer, let's talk about that. In that there's this guy. He has like 12 followers on YouTube. He's not a video maker. He's just a guy with a studio. But for some reason, he was blessed with a Behringer 2600. He also had an original ARP 2600, and he had the cork. I imagine that's why Behringer were interested in him having a go. And that's probably why he asked, because I've got these two machines, I'd love to have a go. So they sent him one, and he had one, and he put out a little video that was picked up, and everybody saw it, and everybody went, "Whoa, you're an idiot!" And the poor guy, he was just trying to make a little video of a comparison. The problem was that the audio wasn't very good. He was just using his camera audio. I mean, he's sitting in a studio, right? And he's just using his camera audio, which is kind of a bit of a, what? But he's just a guy making a video. He wasn't trying to be some kind of pro videographer about it. He was just making a little video. Oh, isn't this interesting? And he also happened to say that he thought the Behringer one particular filter sounded nicer than the Korg. That's great, but we couldn't really hear that because we were listening to it on a camera phone. So yeah, that was quite amusing. And I mean, God bless him, he put out a little response because he must have got a ton of hate from people. Well, no, a ton of hate only because his video wasn't of particularly high quality, that the sort of video that we expect from people who get this stuff. He's just a regular geezer, and he gave it a bit of a go. So he was a bit bemused by all the comments that he got, and rightly so, because most people on the internet, it turns out, are kind of idiots. There we go. But anyway, so he did this video, and it was interesting, certainly because it's the first time we've actually seen someone compare these things. But now, of course, we want someone proper to do it, which seems so unfair towards the guy. And he did do a little response video just to say, I'm just a guy, I'm not a pro video maker, I just make tunes, and then play some techno, which was great. So I think Behringer's philosophy of putting it in the hands of real people, it doesn't always work out in their favour, particularly. But yeah, good luck to him. French website Audio Fancy made a good review. Yeah, cheers Tom for that. They did. Yeah, that's good. I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it. I don't know what it is in my head that thinks I need that kind of thing. I don't know what it is, but I've got plenty, you know. I'm in abundance of things to play with. But we will see. We will see. But yeah, that video was funny. Thanks for that. That reminded me. So, a man with a studio, yeah. Fred's Lab, Sean. Well done, you snuck that in there. Fred's Lab, yeah. What was that about? Strange looking tuo, you know, something spelt like in European, like with umlauts and stuff over the O's. Turo. Yeah, no, I get it, Tom. I do get it. I kind of said that, yeah. So yeah. Fred Labs is Kickstarter on the funny looking polyphonic synthesizer that looks like it's got a load of it's like menu driven on things like a matrix. I'm not explaining this very well. Go and check out Fred's Lab, starting on Kickstarter. It's a little polyphonic synth called the two-re. Oh, I'm gonna have to find out now. I can't let this lie. Flip and flip. I use the terrible search engine on Gear News. Doopy doo, doopy doo. The Turo. How on earth am I going to ever explain that? Can you see that? That thing there. Fred's Lab Turo. Mixed Electronics Hybrid Multi-Timbral Polyphonic Synthesizer. So that's a snappy headline I wrote some time ago. So yeah, that is hitting Kickstarter. It's from France, I believe, hence all the weirdness over the O's. 6-voice, 4-part digital analog polyphonic synthesizer. It's colourfully or industrial and capable of complex sounds, and houses a fabulously analog filter. Now on Kickstarter. Oh, it's pronounced Turo. I don't know. So there you go, that's a thing. I promised to do that, and I have. That's good. Oh, it's a German thing, is it? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, this. Yeah, I didn't speak about this. Several people had it, which is cool. So this is the Werkstatt 01 Werkstatt from Nerg. And it's an analog synthesizer. It's essentially the precursor to the Mother 32. It's a great little thing. It's 200 quid. Comes as a laughable kit, which you put the motherboard into the metal case, and then you put these screws in. That's it. That's all you have to do as far as the kit's concerned. And then, oh, I've got that screwed in. And then you've just got a VCO, VCF, you've got an AFO, and an envelope. That's it. It's simple, it's awesome, it sounds brilliant. I did a video on it and it's got a remarkably great sound, particularly that filter. Really, really nice. Is it as good as a Crave, is the question people ask. I remember playing with the Crave. Played the Crave last year at the Thoman, and I enjoyed the Crave very much. This, I feel, has a much wider sonic palette. Now, how on earth can I say that because they're so similar? I don't know. I remember playing on the Crave and it made mostly exactly what I thought it would. It made mostly those little bass sounds, which were great. Enjoyable, sequencer, like the Mother 32. This just seems to have an ability to scream at either end of things. You can pump that LFO in and get some real good cranky sync and FM sort of tones going on, and it just sounds great. It just sounds great. I mean, it could open up another hour of live streaming here to talk about the question of cost and value on the Workstat versus the Crave. You know, we could do that. I don't think I want to. But the thing about it is that they've released it again, because they'd had it since I think 2014. It ran for a few years and then ran out. They're releasing it again. It comes with the expander, which is this fella here. That goes over the top of little patch wire things, and gives you proper Eurorack ins and outs, which makes it more usable, more compatible, and more ugly, which is fine. Because it wasn't designed to be a product, it was designed to be a workshop thing that they built at Moogfest in 2014, and that's what they did. They soldered it together properly. So it does look a little bit rough and ready, but it's still flipping awesome. Sounds great. I was really quite impressed with the sort of sound that came out of it. It's dying for effects, of course, so these things are. Got a little keyboard on the front. So it's kind of a poor man's Mother 32, really. That's exactly what it is. So it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. They sent me one, sent a load of other people one as well. But my video was the best. You know, my reason why my video was the best is because I didn't talk about the synth. I realised when I was watching DivKiz's video, right, he said, right, this is a VCO and it's capable of doing these waveforms. And I thought, I don't think I mentioned it had a VCO. Then he talked about the filter and the sort of filter it was. And I was thinking, I don't think I talked about the filter. Then I had to look back at my video and say, what did I talk about? It's like a 40-minute video and I didn't mention the fact that it has one oscillator and a filter. What did I do? I don't know. I think it's just full of the joy of playing with the thing. I mean, I built it first, so there's a build guide in as much, you know, painstaking detail as you can imagine for something where you're just putting the motherboard into the case. But then I just played on it and recorded that. I think that's all I did. So it's not the most deep dive into it, but I had fun playing with it. It was a good fun synth, that. Oh, you had to buy the expander separate, Ken. I'm sorry to hear that, but it's 200 quid. They're only, I believe they're only doing like one run of them, so who knows. Who else was doing a run of something? Don't know. Anyway, I think we should probably knock it on the head. I think we're down to 100 people. Definitely that one. So did anybody see the Delia Derbyshire docu-film biopic? If you haven't seen it, it's bloody brilliant. It's on the BFI website, British Film Institute website. You have to watch it through their player and have to rent it through their player. Just awesome, absolutely fascinating. It's kind of a mixture of film, sort of archive footage put together with the director who directed it, and also sort of played Delia within the context of the film. So there were some scenes where she played her and sort of showed what happened and the invention of the Doctor Who theme and other things of working at the Radiophonic Workshop. But then it also had the woman from Throbbing Gristle, I'm not explaining this very well, who did the soundtrack for it. She used the soundtrack from these lost tapes, which were found in Delia's attic in an archive. Then she pulled those out and used those samples to then create the soundtrack, which then played off against the original music coming out that she made. And it was just fascinating, absolutely fascinating, mind-blowing. Go and check that out. It's on the BFI, British Film Institute. Anyway, go and find that. And it's a wonderful piece of film, and it's fascinating. Her story of being this engineer and this musician in that place, in that time, making this music, becoming a drunk, creating extraordinary things under really often weird circumstances, and then going on to suddenly move to a village in the middle of nowhere to become a radio operator and marry some guy and then, before having a little bit of a comeback and then dying from all of the alcohol. Oh, weird, but fascinating. I mean, she really broke boundaries and had ideas that just blow my mind. Ideas of doing something with bits of tape. I mean, how on earth she came up with that Doctor Who theme is just extraordinary. What went into making that happen? I mean, we're so fortunate to the gear that we have. I mean, comes from the sort of experimentation they did in the Radiophonic Workshop and in other places as well, because the Radiophonic Workshop came about because Britain didn't have anything like all the stuff that was happening in Europe and France and Germany, and they put it up precisely to bring those ideas that were already flourishing around Europe to the UK and to the BBC. Fascinating, totally fascinating. Anyway, that's a by the by. That'll do us, I think. Any more burning questions before we call it a night? Because that's enough. I hadn't planned to do it quite so long because, as I said, I had a rather bad day. But never mind. Never mind. It got better. Wambra seems to have wandered off, thank goodness. So I don't have to live with the guilt of actually banning somebody. I don't know. So play you out with a bit more of the black sequencer. A bit loud. So thanks ever so much for showing up. That's awesome. Thanks for spending some time with me this evening. I hope that it was interesting, even around my weirdness and rantiness. I'll feel better, and we'll maybe during the lockdown we'll do a couple more of these because that might be interesting. But I'm going to be working towards Computer Week, which is happening at the end of November. Quite hard on that. Lots of things to do in the middle. Yeah, thanks, Ken. It has helped, actually. I just, Wampra just pushed me over the edge, man. It's not. I don't want to go down there again sometimes. So thanks for that. So I'm just going to turn this on and have a little fiddle, and you talk amongst yourselves or wander off. That's fine. Thanks a lot. That's it. I just need to stop speaking, and then I can get on with my life. All the best now.